Hold up, guys. I bet you thought the scariest thing about all these new Chinese EVs was range anxiety, or maybe the volatility of the battery packs, right? Wrong. The scariest thing apparently is plugging your phone into them, because by doing so, apparently you could inadvertently download or upload or download your entire life history faster than some dodgy porn. Yeah, apparently this is a real thing. According to top British defense contractors, charging your mobile phone inside a Chinese electric car could be like handing the keys to your entire existence over to, well, whoever's watching. Don't believe me? Wow. I'll tell you everything right after this.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
Right, so joke or not, you tell me, the top dogs of defense in the UK, companies like BAE Systems, Rolls-Royce, Lockheed Martin, they are all telling their staff that when it comes to their smartphones and Chinese EVs, if they happen to have one, don't plug in, don't pair up, don't even whisper secrets about what you're doing at work and your latest project whilst you're sitting in your BYD or your Xpeng or your Geely, or, well, I guess that would probably even include things like the Polestar or the MG, because they are actually made in China, aren't they? So this report is being widely reported actually, but I think the main report initially came from the iPaper, which is of course, part of the independent newspaper group. And that reports that the Ministry of Defense, the MOD, has banned cars relying on Chinese technology from sensitive military sites across the country. Wowzers. Oh, okay. So in fact, if you take places like RAF Wyton, this is one of Britain's top key intelligence hubs. It now, get this, this is what is being reported. It now actually bans these vehicles from parking anywhere closer than 2 miles of the facility. 2 miles. So for example, if you drive a Chinese electric car and you work at one of these places, you have to park every day 2 miles away, I guess get the bus in or something, because that's the only way that they will allow you to do that. So one UK defense firm executive said, the sale of Chinese cars is growing in the UK, and we are rightly cautious about that. We are making our staff aware of the sensible precautions to take if they choose to buy a Chinese EV. Another defense firm source said, it is safe to assume that every major defense supplier is concerned about the tech in Chinese-built cars. In the same way that government departments and defense firms have long told staff not to plug in memory sticks into their work laptops to prevent security breaches, it is a sensible precaution not to plug your phone into your car, because all of that data could become vulnerable. This person added, not only could your car download your journeys, but it could also scrape your text messages, voicemails, and even sensitive work documents from your mobile. That's the sort of information the Chinese state might like to get its hands on, so it's just sensible that the industry takes a belt and braces approach to that threat. Zhong Jingguang, I hope I pronounced that correctly, with all respect, a research fellow at the Hong Kong Democracy Council focusing on digital rights and a member of the Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China, said, China uses the data it collects for both good and malicious intent, like spying or espionage. Data is considered a strategic resource, and the collection and processing of data are matters of national security. And after all, don't forget that, recently you would have seen in the news, the role of Chinese companies and equipment in critical infrastructure was brought sharply into focus after the government was recently forced to take control of the firm British Steel from its Chinese owner, Jingye Group, to prevent it from closing the blast furnaces at the country's last virgin steel making site. That was widely reported. Effectively, we've nationalized that company now, or at least temporarily anyway. I tell you what, though, it all got me thinking a little bit. You know that they're hunting for the next actor to play James Bond, right? And there's always been this discussion of should the next Bond, should he be black? Should he be brown? Should he be a woman? Should she be a woman, I should say. But you know what? I reckon forget all of that. Maybe the next 007 should just be a car. I mean, think about it. We're talking spying, right? And spying technology. Well, maybe it's time for KITT, K-I-T-T, Knight Industries 2000, the black T-top Pontiac Trans Am from Knight Rider. Maybe it's time for KITT to come out of retirement, because clearly the next generation of spies aren't men in tuxedos or femme fatales in spiked high heels. They are bloody cars. That's what they are. So maybe in the next movie they should just have AI in an Aston Martin. Let that be the star. I mean, who needs a plonker in the driving seat with a Walter PPK after all anyway? Eject him. Anyway, back to this. Let's get serious. Come on. I mean, is this really serious? Are we really worried about it? Well, let's look at this this fact, right? Under China's 2017 National Intelligence Law, Chinese companies must assist National Intelligence Services operations if requested. So that's in their law. So this effectively means that if, say, a Chinese, even if Chinese car companies say, or they swear blind that they're not giving their data to the state and they're just building cool cars, supposedly under this law, if their government demanded that they hand over that data because it was vital or important for national intelligence reasons, then legally they are supposed to hand over whatever they have. Of course, all of this is in theory. And, it's theory that's being taken very seriously. The MOD's own internal reviews have flagged that the advanced sensors, microphones, GPS, and cloud connections in these Chinese EVs could all be exploited in this manner to gather that data. And of course, even in Europe, even the EU is investigating whether Chinese EVs pose a wider cybersecurity threat. And you do wonder, what could be done? And we're entering into the realms of science fiction or Mission Impossible movies. It's what could be done? Of course, just yesterday, if you've been watching the news, and how could you possibly miss this, they had a complete and total blackout in Spain and parts of Portugal, and they still don't know the reason. Even now, I just watched the news, and they still haven't reported what was the reason for that blackout that basically crippled those countries, or certainly a large part of Spain. And you just wonder, well, what would it take? I mean, our entire lives now are based on electricity and the digital network, and if that is killed or taken offline, our entire civilization comes tumbling down. Hey, before I carry on, make sure that you have hit like, and don't forget to share and subscribe. By the way, help out my channel by supporting me on Patreon and Ko-fi, or by taking out a subscription right here on YouTube, or better still, buy my books. I've got 3 of them out now. There's 2 of them. Those are fiction. One is a novel. It's the novel that every petrolhead should read. It's called The Ulysses Files. It's about the war on motorists. And the other one is a collection of my short stories from over 2 decades, everything from science fiction to cars to the state of humanity. And then this is my latest book. This is basically me putting my 35 years of experience and knowledge doing what I do into a book to help other people get into this game. So if you've ever thought about being a content creator, a journalist, or an influencer to do with cars, you need to get this book. It's out now on Amazon. Anyway, Joseph Jarnecki, a research fellow in cyber and technology at the Royal United Service Institute, believes defense contractors are taking a measured and sensible approach to the potential security threat posed by Chinese vehicles. He said, in the context where these defense companies are incredibly high value in terms of espionage targets, it is an entirely reasonable risk management approach to take based on the historical evidence we have of Chinese espionage targeting, for example, intellectual property held by defense companies. But let's step back a little bit. Let's slow things down a little bit. Let's not completely go crazy and freak out and, sell our Chinese cars all of a sudden. There's a few which I've driven lately and I really like, and I paired my phone with every one of them. So if there is anybody watching in China, sorry about all the pictures on my phone. They're all car pictures, I'm sure. But listen, so before you decide, actually, you're going to wrap your phone in tinfoil every time you get into an EV, or maybe just easier, put it in one of those Faraday pockets or whatever, which you should do with your keys, by the way, if you have a key fob, to avoid car thefts. But anyway, that's a different story for a different video. What you need to do is ask yourself this: what exactly, as you as an individual, are really worried about China discovering? That you listen to Taylor Swift? That you lied on your CV about being proficient in Excel? Or that you ordered 6 Subway cookies instead of the healthy salad that you promised your wife? Oops. Here's the thing. Despite all of this panic and all of this discussion and this real report that these things are happening and the MOD is taking these actions and what have you, the reality is that there is zero public evidence that Chinese EVs have actually been used for any sort of espionage. There's not one shred, not one court case, no scandal, nothing. Nothing has been reported at all. Nothing with any substantial backing or evidence that this has actually happened. And another security expert, a cybersecurity expert, did make the point that the Chinese state is unlikely to risk the success of their growing car exports, and let's be honest, their domination of the global EV market, by embroiling that industry in an international spying row. James Bohr, managing director of cyber technology firm Bohr's Group, said, "I am yet to see any evidence that there is malicious software being spread by Chinese cars. There are theoretical attacks which allow your phone or your devices to be compromised through plugging them into a charger, but these have been shown under lab conditions, and I have seen no evidence that it actually happened in the wild. The moment that it does, the Chinese car company market will collapse." And that's not the sort of economic upheaval that China really wants. So let's be logical and think about it. What he's saying, I believe, is actually quite true. China's on a roll right now. And if you look at everything that's happening with the car industry, and I've covered this extensively in other videos, so I won't go into too much detail, but because of the tariffs and everything that's happening, legacy car manufacturers are under a huge amount of pressure. And meanwhile, China's got free reign. I mean, the whole tariff thing was supposed to hurt China. In fact, China in this scenario has got free reign to keep building these cars, to keep developing these cars, to keep exporting these cars. It doesn't need the American market. It's got it's got Africa, it's got the Middle East, it's got Europe, it's got us, and it can keep sending us these cars. And the level of technology and advancement that the pace at which they're growing is extraordinary. And if you look at the recent reviews I've done on the Xpeng G6 and on things like the C-Line, the BYD C-Line 7, I mean, it's just extraordinary how far they're going. So theoretically, all of this could happen, but at the same time, if they did it, all of that investment, all of that effort, all of that infrastructure, all of that achievement that they have so far accomplished in the world of the global car industry, in particular the electric car industry, would be for naught, because they would just eradicate that overnight. And would you really want to do that? Mike Hall, chief executive of the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, SMMT, here in the UK, he said all manufacturers with cars on sale in the UK must adhere to relevant regulations on data privacy, and EVs are no different. The industry is committed to upholding a high level of consumer data protection, including proportionate use of data, including apps and paired mobile phones, which can be removed from cars according to individual manufacturer instructions, giving peace of mind to motorists. And you know, this is something that is true and it is happening, and it's one of the reasons, for example, that Porsche are killing off the Boxster in Cayman, particularly, I think it's already killed in Europe, and I think it's on run out here, because the level of protection technology that they would have to put into that car would require complete redevelopment. This is for data protection, and they thought it's better just to kill them off and just work on something new for scratch. So those cars are probably going to be replaced by EVs as well, ironically enough. With manufacturers, again, reported by this iReport, iNews report, a spokesman for Xpeng, which has recently launched, like I said, the all-new G6, which I've just reviewed. Check out the reviews on this channel. It's a great car. They denied that their cars are spying on drivers. The spokesperson said Xpeng takes its customers and their data protection seriously. Xpeng is fully compliant with UK and EU rules and regulations and is committed to continuously adhering to and complying with the applicable UK and EU privacy laws and regulations. To demonstrate our privacy compliance in the UK and EU, we have 2 globally recognized privacy information management certificates. So the fact is, if you think your MG or whatever is about to report your extended external lunch date with Kate from accounting, well, odds are you're probably safe. But hey, if for some reason you are genuinely still worried and you already have one, or you're buying a Chinese EV and you're really still worried about, letting state secrets slip on the slip road or to the M1, then there are a few things you could do. Faraday pouch, like I said, that's one thing. Don't plug your phone into the car's USB at all. Use a separate power bank. You don't even charge from the car. Disable Bluetooth and wireless when you get into the car. Avoid connecting any of your personal devices to unknown infotainment systems. And if you really are going to discuss, for your eyes only top-level MI6 secrets, then save it for the pub, maybe, and make sure everybody's drunk so they won't remember in the morning anyway. That's the way to do it. The other thing I should point out is that, okay, I think that there's probably truth on both of these sides. I think that the technology within these cars probably does exist. I mean, at the end of the day, you get into the BYD or the Xpeng and you go, hey Xpeng, or hey BYD, and it immediately responds. So therefore it's listening, right? But the point is that so are these things. And this is what astonishes me, is that we're going on and on about cars. We're talking about having Big Brother riding along with you in your car, but surely we're all carrying Big Brother around in our pockets, because surely all the current smartphones, or nearly all of them, are also made in China. Famously, didn't Apple try to fly plane loads of iPhones over to America to beat the tariffs? The iPhones, right? But they're all made in China. So technically, and the phone, let's be honest, I think that there isn't a greater surveillance and data gathering device ever created in history. It's got everything about us is on these, and they're worried about us plugging into the cars. But the reality is these things are connected anyway, and they're listening. They are. That's the reality of it. So, but on the other side, I think that when the manufacturers say, because this is a big thing and they wouldn't want to risk their industry, that they're not doing this and that they won't be gathering any data, and maybe they're not collecting it, and maybe therefore they won't be able to hand it over even if they were asked, then I think that that's probably true, because I don't think they would risk the domination that they currently have. Having said that, when it comes to those movie-based sci-fi Mission Impossible James Bond scenarios, you can easily imagine an individual hacking a specific car to use the devices in the car to get the data. So I think that these ministries and them, they're probably also correct in what they're doing, probably not necessarily because the parent company of that manufacturer that makes the car is going to be spying on them, but potentially because somebody else could be hacking that car or cyber attacking it or whatever to be able to use the equipment on the car to get the information that they are trying to nefariously acquire. So I think that might be more of a scenario rather than car manufacturers doing anything like that. But anyway, let me know what you think. Do you think that this is a genuine cyber spy scandal in the making? Or could it be another Cold War style panic because, frankly, we still can't believe that the Chinese are building better cars, let alone EVs, just actually better cars than most of the rest of the car industry at the moment. I gotta be honest. That's a fact. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe on your way out. Look forward to hearing your comments on this one, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? Buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does.